Fresh Baked, we're doing a construction update today. We've got news from Adventureland, both good and bad, updates from downtown Disney, and they're building a bridge at the Pacific Wharf. All coming up next on Fresh Baked. Adventureland has been behind walls for a month now, it feels like, maybe more. I don't know. I wasn't here when the walls went up, so I'm not sure how long it's been, but they were taken down recently, and the reveal has been, revealing. As we make our way toward Indiana Jones, you'll notice, it definitely feels like more space. I feel like how that just opened up a little bit just now. In spite of the fact that Indiana's closed, it does feel like the crowds, it doesn't feel as intense, as tight here as it was before. And that's because right here, the planter that separates Indiana Jones from the old Fast Pass station, they've reduced that planter by about 6 to 8 feet. It used to come out to just about here, I'd say. Kind of shocking. It's about 11 a.m. here on a Tuesday. It's not the busiest time of day to be here. Indiana Jones is not open, but when we walked through in front of Jungle Cruise, that felt pretty snug, a little snug like it normally feels. But then as soon as you get to the Jungle Cruise and Indiana Jones entrance, things get miraculously more wide open. Time will tell. We're gonna have to wait and see how effective this is when the ride opens. We're also gonna have to wait and see when Indy opens how well these new rocks work. When I first saw the updated rocks here in front of Indiana Jones, I thought, oh my gosh, those are remarkably darker than the old rocks. I thought the old rocks were kind of a dark gray, where these looked almost black. But surprisingly, they are just about the same color. The only differences in tone are due to the freshness of the paint. I was told that these rocks back here, by the extended queue for Indy, were not painted at all. These are the existing rocks and the existing color, which is, as I mentioned, just about the same. Well, there's a lot of light here, so it's hard to tell, but these here as well are the old color, and then here comes the new color. It's literally or nearly identical. What is different though is the size and the shape of those rocks. The old rocks were more upright and a little taller. These rocks are are shorter and a little more slanted. Kevin on Twitter, when he responded to the image that we saw originally of these rocks, said that they have a very distinct "don't sit here" vibes, and I that's 100% intentional. I think that is the plan, is they're trying to discourage people from sitting here. One of the things that blocks traffic the most in an area, especially in a pinch point area like this, is when people stop for any reason. Be that just as, look at their phones or turn around or do something, but when you stop, it messes up traffic. So they want to keep traffic moving here as much as possible. That's why there are so few places to sit in the parks in general. But yeah, this is absolutely by design here to inhibit sitting. Now, the few times that I've been through here, I have not seen anybody sit. Again, though, Indiana Jones is not open, so it's not likely to find anybody sitting here. This is a very common place. You look at old video, there are people sitting on those rocks all over the place. So when this ride reopens, we'll have to look and see how effective this new formation is. Meanwhile, where the walls were up, which would be right about here and everything to the left of it, they have put in new concrete, new flooring, new walking paths. They have updated all of this here. Now this looks about like it did before. That's the old concrete right there, the old path. This is the new path. And then as we progress further through Adventureland, they did a great job, by the way, of maintaining the aesthetic. The unfinished, broken, cracked aesthetic. That's all intentional. Here again is the old concrete. I have a feeling these two colors are going to age. As a matter of fact, we saw something like that at New Orleans Square a while back when they were updating the pavement there. Let's take a look at that real quick to see how that's aged. Yeah, this is just about how we left it. That's the old pavement here in New Orleans Square, and that is the new pavement. I think it'll take a little while for the color to even out, but it will fade over time. So back at Adventureland, you can see here also that they have installed some new flagstone pavers here, not for any specific purpose other than to demonstrate a transition between lands, between Adventureland and as you approach New Orleans Square. So they want, because you've got this that's the new surface they installed a while back that they took out the tree stump. These pavers are just a way to transition between the lands. It's actually not the first time we see this. You go back to the entrance as you come in from the hub, from Main Street into Adventureland, they have the same situation where you go from the Main Street pavement through the pavers and then into the Adventureland aesthetic of the concrete. And that's it. That's all they were trying to do to these walls, was update the walking surface, the pavement and the planter behind me. Actually, I should clarify, the work on the pavement was to level out the grade a little bit from the transition between New Orleans Square and Adventureland. They were trying to even out the grade, even out the slope a little bit. It was a little too steep, I guess. I'm not sure how effective that is. You can still feel it. When you walk through here, you can still feel that you're going downhill. And then as the new pavement that we're seeing on the ground now is just simply a byproduct of them updating that. It has nothing to do with the construction that's going on right now inside Indiana Jones proper, which, by the way, I don't know if you can hear that, but they are hard at work back there right now. You can hear them whooping and hollering, or I can anyway. But there was nothing, this work had nothing to do with Indiana Jones inside or the treehouse next door, or even anything below grade. They weren't working on anything below grade. They were just trying to even out the slope. By the way, I can also report that, with respect to Indiana Jones, they are ahead of schedule. That's the report I've heard. I don't have a date or a time frame, but best guess right now is probably April. We're hoping it's going to be spring, early spring as opposed to late spring. So don't look for this to go into May or June, I don't think. How that relates now to Splash Mountain is still anybody's guess, but it has been my working assumption, my working theory or hypothesis that they will be closing Splash Mountain just as soon as they can open Indiana Jones. Okay, by the way, one last thing I want to talk about. I want to touch on this. I've been staying out of the whole sign issue. Disney has been on a run lately of screwing up the signage at the park. This one here at Indiana Jones may have been the top of them all. Yeah. I gave a pass on the Mickey statue out at the hub. I mean, with the mouse by a mouse, we all get it. It's the same difference. I didn't even talk about the signage issue that they had for the 100th. The banners where they got the year for the Matterhorn incorrect, which they fixed. There was a couple others. This one, though, this one is a doozy. On this sign back here, there are four typographical errors. When I first saw this on Twitter, people were talking about sight. They had used the incorrect spelling. The S-I-G-H-T is an incorrect usage here. But there was also a plain misspelling with permission. They dropped a random S in there. But then others pointed out archaeology was spelt wrong. There's supposed to be an A in archaeology, not just A-R-C-H-E. I could probably give them, I'm sorry, there's a fourth one. Redford, Connecticut, the archaeology department in Redford, Connecticut, it's Bedford. It's a fictional place. It's not a real college, Marshall College. It's not a real place. So, I mean, but Bedford, Connecticut is a real place. They got that wrong as well. Now, I can give them a pass on any one of those, or I can find a reason for them to have, to make that mistake on any one of those individual issues. But put collectively, it's obvious that they're screwed up. And I gotta say, it kind of bothered me a little bit. The other ones, like I said, I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to harp on it. People, that's kind of a Twitter thing, social thing. People want to complain, but this one is it's so egregious. 4 on one sign. Is there nobody else? Is there not just a second pair of eyes would have fixed that? And the reason why I make that distinction, why I make that notice, because you could probably, blame the Mickey statue on the company that actually built that statue. You can even blame the company that made that sign for the misspelling of permissions. But all these things in the aggregate suggest that there is just not enough attention to detail. I don't know what it is. If Potrock is known to be a cost cutter, a guy who's looking for ways to save money, maybe he cut a few jobs, and one of those jobs is being the proofreader for signage, which they absolutely, definitely need, it would seem. Like I said, normally I wouldn't have brought this up. Individually, these issues could have been ignored or given a pass, but in the aggregate, there's just too much happening. It suggests, it's telling of the mindset of the Disney company, or I should say Disneyland, and their failure to attend to the details, especially guest-facing details that guests are going to notice. They're absolutely going to notice, and it's, hey, how are you guys? I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. It's bothersome to me, and I hope that they find some way to fix it. Actually, I should say, they did fix this one. We have a new sign. All errors have been corrected. No items may be removed from this site without written permission from Dr. Henry Jones of the Board of Regents of the Archaeology Department with an A, and they have actually completely removed the reference to the college, Marshall College, and Bedford, Connecticut. It's not even there at all. So at least they did that. At least they corrected their mistake. Hey, by the way, they also fixed the pepper shaker at Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. So while I am going to give them grief for getting it wrong, at least they fixed it right away. I don't think they're going to fix the Mickey statue, though. I think that's going to stay the way it is. We'll check back on that. I meant to look at that on the way in. Meanwhile, right next door, scrims are down at Adventureland Treehouse, and there's active construction happening. I saw earlier some construction workers there actively working, again, banging and whatnot on, on the treehouse, but we still can't really see anything at all in terms of what they're doing. It's still shrouded in leaves and branches and scrim, and you can't really tell at all what's happening back there. But I feel like the fact that they have removed those scrims and they have removed the walls suggests that they are making some kind of progress at the treehouse. And like last time, no better luck from the opposite side. I can't see a construction worker there in that orange vest doing I have no idea what, but that's in the neighborhood of the son's room in the treehouse. So, and by the way, still I can't tell what that is in the very top right corner of the tree, if that's structure or if that's just more scaffolding covering the area that they're building. By the way, here's another construction worker. Looks like he's working on, the trunk-sized branch of that tree. No idea what he's doing though. Haunted Mansion is closed. They're putting back the traditional Haunted Mansion after the holiday overlay. It'll be closed until Friday, February 10th. Look at that, it looks like they got a cart of some new landscaping, some new plants to put in the landscaping. Curious to see where they're gonna put that. Still got the fake grass though. From here, it looks like they might be putting them along that path, the initial path that you walk when you first cross the threshold. That'd be neat. I'd like to see some plants there, some flowers. It would give the fake grass a little more life, right? And that's gonna do it for Disneyland. Just a couple stories there, but fairly big ones at that. Adventureland. I mean, it's wild how different that land looks now, just with a simple change to that planner. We're gonna take this mission next to downtown Disney. Hi, thank you. Well, I wasn't expecting to find this, but some walls have popped up here in between the tram loading area and what is now Earl Sandwich. This is just that space in front of the fountain. I don't think this is probably just something that they gotta fix, a repair in the concrete or something to that effect. So the situation here at Gathercole has gotten interesting from my perspective. Last time we were here, we noticed at the home store that it looked like it had been gutted a little bit, that they had taken everything down and completely stripped the interiors of that location. On this visit, we've noticed that they have also taken down all of the drywall. You can see the studs inside the home store, which means they're doing some extensive work to that, to the extent that I don't believe that when that space reopens, it's going to be a home store anymore. It's going to be something else. Now, the reason why I am here at Gathercole when I mentioned that is because I believe that this is going to become, the home store is going to become the entrance, the new entrance to Gathercole. A friend of mine showed me, he visits Gathercole often, and he says the stairway in this entrance is quite narrow. Actually not, well, narrow a little bit, but also very low to the ground. If you're anything more than 6 foot, then you've got to be mindful. You have to negotiate that turn into the second flight of stairs. Not to mention the fact that the entrance to Gathercole, as it stands today, it's right next to the kitchen in the prep area. It's not for a high-end restaurant what this is supposed to be. This is going to wind up being a high-end Mexican restaurant. It just doesn't, the aesthetic upon entering just doesn't cut it. Not for a high-end. So I feel like they're going to build a new custom entrance to Gathercole, I think, where the home store was. And that's going to include either a new flight of stairs or an elevator to get up to that second floor, which there's a bunch of, well, that's where all the seating is really on Gathercole, is the second floor. And on this visit today, this is actually new for me. This scaffolding was not here on my last visit, which was, I think, just 2 days ago. I don't remember this scaffolding being here. So they're about ready to do some major work on the exterior of this location. Watch for the visual changes to see what they wind up looking like. I don't expect them to look like Catal does presently, because Catal also is going to be going through a change. But if this facade matches that facade, then you got something for sure. Now we know both the home store and Underground have closed. Wonderground has wound up over at the ESPN zone, where they put a bunch of pop-up stuff. It's there now. Tiny little location. We thought Wonderground was small as it is. It's about half the size of the previous Wonderground. It does not do that location justice. The merchandise that they have in there does not do that location justice. But it does suggest that Wonderground has a future. Where the heck where are they gonna put the home store? Does it have a future? I don't know, because if they're moving the entrance to Catal to where the home store was, then the home store, where are they going to put that? I don't know. I don't think it's going to wind up being in the new space, the space that is still dirt here at downtown Disney. I don't like it for that location, if for no other reason than I just feel like they want to put something new, something that would draw perhaps a high-end third-party retailer, not the home store, which is, you know, a Disney-owned store. And I always felt like the home store was kind of a temporary situation, because it's obviously the same merch that you get anywhere else, including, oh hey, hi guys, how are you? I'm doing great, thank you guys. It's basically the same thing that you can get at, you know, World of Disney. As we walk through downtown Disney, the situation at the downtown Disney stop for the monorail has grown. These fences have grown. They were a little bit bigger than they were the first time we were down here. I tried to peek through the fence, but I couldn't make anything out, but it did look to me like they were tearing up the concrete in front of the monorail station. And I really want them to hurry up with downtown Disney, because this is the first, like, creating something new out of scratch that we've seen. Well, I guess Runaway Railway, but we already knew what that was. But they're doing something new and from scratch in certain parts of there. So I want them to hurry up and get that thing going. But for now, let's take this report to DCA. We got a couple stories there to check in on, including the Pacific Wharf. Well, actually, what is soon to be San Fransokyo. Work is progressing here quickly, at least I should say, with respect to the bridge that connects, you know, DCA and the parade corridor to the Pacific Wharf, which, as I mentioned, will become San Fransokyo. That's the thing that they're building right now. First and foremost is that bridge. What wasn't clear to me initially when I saw the concept art was that it's actually just going to be an appendage that they're going to snap on top of the existing bridge. This bridge, as it is going to remain intact, and then they're going to snap on the rest of the bridge that's going to make it look more like a Golden Gate Bridge. Right now, you can see that they have begun digging, you know, the foundations, installing the foundations for the 4 pillars that will create, you know, the bridge appendage. Brackets, one on each side, one in front, one in back. And actually on this visit today, which I didn't see 2 days ago, there's a bunch of wood now in the empty wharf, which that is potential. That is future San Fransokyo Bridge. As for the Pacific Wharf proper, San Fransokyo, no changes there as of yet. Everything looks exactly as it was. They're probably going to be saving all of that work till the last minute, because that's what they're doing there is pretty minimal, just cosmetic stuff only, stickers or whatever that they can just slap onto the buildings, etc. Take out the truck, and boom, you got yourself San Fransokyo. So I don't expect to see any progress there for a while, but everything that we're going to see here is going to happen along this bridge route. While we're in the neighborhood, I was shown a photo the other day that had a sign out front saying that the Imagineering was working on something new for the Blue Sky Cellar, which is right there in the rear of the frame. There was a sign up just like the one they had at Steakhouse 55. I have not been able to locate that sign anywhere around this building. I have looked all over, but I would imagine it should be or would be right here at its entrance. But I've looked hither and yon and I cannot see it. However, if they are imagining something new here for the Blue Sky Cellar, that would be a gift. Something that I've been asking for years. I love the Blue Sky Cellar. My first experiences as a Disney reporter, as a Disneyland reporter, were when they were building Cars Land. I would go to the Blue Sky Cellar all the time and check out the work they were doing on Cars Land and on Paradise Pier. and then we would look out over the edge and try to see behind the walls and see what's going on there. So I have fond memories of Blue Sky, and it's, you know, right up my alley in terms of the things that I'd be interested in when it comes to you know, being, you know, following, tracking construction progress. I miss it so much. So I would dearly hope that they do find a way to start putting you know, exhibits in there again. What would they put in there? I would imagine you know, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, Tiana's Palace. I think it's probably too late to put in a Toontown model, but they have the models already. This is stuff that exists already. But never mind that. What I have been saying for years is that they should be putting in stuff from you know, other parks. The Frozen Land that they're building in Hong Kong, or you know, whatever the new stuff they're building in Shanghai, which hey, how are you? Which I cannot think of what they're doing, but I mean, they're building stuff. Hollywood Studios at in Paris. I would love, and I think guests here would love to see updates, models, concept art of the stuff that they're working on, and backstory of the stuff they're working on in other parks. Tell us what they're doing. Tell us what they're doing at Epcot. And the, what is it called? The Imagination Pavilion or whatever that is. Great thing, great thing. That would make everybody so happy. Last stop of the day is Hollywood Boulevard, where we're gonna check in on the update that they're doing here, which looks to be the same as it was before. Scaffolding and scrim. The scrim was down the other day. It is up today. It looks like paint and polish to me, as usual. And then this right here is a site that we'll be paying attention to in the coming days, coming weeks, months. Hyperion Theater will be having a new show. When, I don't know, but we can say for sure that they have been casting for a new show. You may have seen our news video on that topic. But if there's a new show in progress, that means they're probably going to be, I don't know, would they update the theater at all? Paint and polish there as well? Let's watch for scrim and scaffolding on this building, and let's watch to see if anything happens back here. This is the extended queue for the theater. When you're waiting for the show, everybody kind of just coalesces here in this space. It's kind of a queue, it's kind of just a pen where people wait, but you'll notice right away that there are no tables here. I wasn't expecting this, but that's the thing. The fact that there are no tables here is interesting, because this is the primary place for people to eat. This is the overflowed seating area for Pim's Test Kitchen and all the other dining locations. Well, you know, the shawarma carts. What if they're taking these tables out? What for? Let's go take a quick look through Avengers Campus to see if they have put in any more tables out there. These tables are still here, but there was a ton of tables in that space behind us. Nope, not really. I can't do a full examination of all the space out here, but I don't see any new tables anywhere. They're about ready to do what I assume is a Dora Milaje, so I can't walk to my left. But that was a space where they had tables and chairs before. So they've just removed the tables and chairs. They have not reappeared or replaced them in any other part of the land. Apropos of nothing, Spider-Man Web Slingers 40-minute standby. Interesting. And that Fresh Baked is a wrap on our construction update from the Disneyland Resort today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Follow us on Instagram at _FreshBaked, on Twitter at FreshBakedDisney, that's fresh with no E, and on TikTok at FreshBakedDisney. If you like our show and want to show you support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, everybody. We love you. Be safe out there. I'm being chased by a red car trolley. Be kind to one another. At Fresh Baked.